When Elon Musk walked into the library on his son's 12th birthday, he made a promise that would change everything. "Saxon," he said, "I want to give you anything in the world. Name it, and it's yours." Most kids would ask for the latest gaming system, a trip to space, or maybe their own sports car. But Saxon Musk, a 12-year-old boy who already had access to rockets, billion-dollar companies, and technology most people couldn't even imagine, asked for something completely different. For weeks, Saxon couldn't find the courage to tell his father what he really wanted. Every time Elon asked, Saxon would say, "I'm still thinking." And with each passing day, the question grew heavier in his chest. You see, Saxon lived in a mansion filled with every toy, every gadget, every luxury money could buy. He had tutors, drivers, and security guards. He went to the best schools and met astronauts and scientists. From the outside, his life looked perfect. But Saxon was carrying a secret. Something was missing from his life, something that all the money in the world couldn't fix. And when he finally found the courage to tell his father what he truly wanted for his birthday, his answer didn't cost a single dollar. What Saxon asked for was so simple, yet so powerful, that it brought one of the world's most successful men to tears. His request would challenge everything Elon thought he knew about being a good father. What could a boy who has everything possibly want that would break his father's heart? What gift could be free but worth more than all the rockets and electric cars in the world combined? Stay with us to discover the answer that changed both of their lives forever. Because what Saxon asked for that day is something every kid wants, and something every parent needs to hear. Saxon Musk pressed his pencil against the paper, carefully shading the dome of his imaginary Mars habitat. Outside the library window, 3 black SUVs sat in the circular driveway like sleeping giants. Inside one of them, he knew Marcus, his father's head of security, was probably drinking coffee and checking cameras. It was 7:23 in the morning. Saxon knew because he'd been awake since 5:47, which was when the sunrise painted his bedroom ceiling orange. He always woke up early on his birthday. When he was little, it was because of excitement. Now at 12 years old, it was something else, something that felt heavier in his chest. "The greenhouse section needs to be bigger," Saxon whispered to himself, erasing a line. "Plants need more room than people think." His pencil moved in small, precise strokes. Drawing helped him think. Drawing helped him forget that downstairs the kitchen staff was preparing his birthday breakfast, chocolate chip pancakes, his favorite, and that in a few hours there would be wrapped presents and a cake and everyone would sing. Everything would be perfect. Everything except the one thing that mattered. Saxon heard footsteps in the hallway, adult footsteps, moving with purpose. He didn't look up. Probably someone looking for a book, or checking on him, or, "There you are, buddy." Saxon's pencil froze. He knew that voice better than any sound in the world. He looked up slowly. His father stood in the doorway, still wearing yesterday's wrinkled shirt, his hair pointing in several different directions. Elon Musk looked tired, but his eyes were bright and focused. On Saxon. "Dad?" Saxon closed his notebook carefully. "I thought you were in California." "I was." Elon walked into the room, his shoes making soft sounds on the wooden floor. "Caught a red eye back. Couldn't miss today." Saxon's heart did a small flip, the kind that hurt and felt good at the same time. His father had come home. For him, on his actual birthday. Elon sat down in the leather chair next to Saxon's spot by the window. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Through the glass, the Texas sky was turning from pink to blue. 12 years old, Elon said quietly. That's something." Yeah, Saxon said, because he didn't know what else to say. His father looked at him, really looked at him, in a way that made Saxon feel suddenly visible. It was the look Elon usually saved for rocket designs or prototype problems. Full attention, complete focus. Saxon, I need to tell you something. Elon leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. I know I haven't been around as much as I should be. I know that, and I'm sorry. Saxon felt his throat get tight. It's okay. You're busy. I understand. No, it's not okay. Elon shook his head. And maybe you understand, but you shouldn't have to. Not at 12. Not ever, really. Saxon didn't know where to look, so he looked at his hands. I've been thinking, Elon continued, about what I could do to make this birthday special, really special, and I came up with something. Here it comes, Saxon thought, a trip to SpaceX, a tour of the Gigafactory, maybe tickets to something amazing. His father was good at amazing. I want to give you anything you want, Elon said. Anything in the world. You name it, and it's yours. I mean that. Whatever you can think of, if it exists, I'll get it. If it doesn't exist, I'll build it. This is a completely serious offer, Saxon. Anything. Saxon looked up. His father's gray eyes, the same color as his own, were completely sincere. Anything? Saxon heard himself ask. Anything, Elon confirmed. He smiled slightly. I'm guessing you want the new VR setup that's not out yet? Or maybe that telescope you mentioned last month? Oh, or we could plan a trip, anywhere in the world. Name the place. Saxon's mind raced through possibilities. A new computer, a real flamethrower from the Boring Company, a ride in the Cybertruck prototype, courtside seats to every Lakers game, a private tour of NASA. These were all things other kids could never even imagine, but something else was already forming in Saxon's mind. Something his father hadn't mentioned. Something that couldn't be ordered or built or scheduled. Can I think about it? Saxon asked quietly. Elon blinked, clearly surprised. Of course. Yeah, take all the time you need, buddy. There's no rush. He stood up, and Saxon could see he was pleased with himself, pleased that he'd made this grand offer, pleased that he'd come home for his son's birthday. I'm proud of you, you know, Elon said, pausing at the door. You're going to do incredible things someday. Thanks, Dad, Saxon said. When his father left, Saxon opened his notebook again, but instead of returning to his Mars habitat, he turned to a blank page. His hand moved slowly, carefully, drawing two figures, one tall, one shorter, standing side by side, just standing there together, nothing else around them. He stared at the drawing for a long time. Then he closed the notebook and pressed it against his chest, where that heavy feeling lived. Because Saxon had just realized something that made his eyes burn with tears, he wouldn't let fall. He knew exactly what he wanted to ask for, and he was terrified that it was the one thing his father couldn't give him. Saxon didn't go downstairs for breakfast right away. He sat in the library for another 20 minutes, holding his notebook, trying to slow down his heartbeat. His bedroom door opened down the hall. He could hear it even from here. That would be Griffin, his older brother, waking up. Griffin was 16 and always slept until someone made him get up. Saxon heard footsteps, then Griffin's voice calling his name. In here, Saxon called back softly. Griffin appeared in the doorway, wearing a Lakers jersey and sweatpants, his dark hair sticking up. Happy birthday, little man. He walked over and ruffled Saxon's hair. Mom's texting everyone asking where you are. The pancakes are getting cold. I was just thinking, Saxon said. Dangerous activity. Griffin grinned, but his eyes were kind. He noticed the notebook in Saxon's lap. New drawings? Saxon nodded. Can I see? Saxon hesitated, then opened to the page with the two figures. Griffin studied it quietly. His smile faded a little. It's just a sketch, Saxon said quickly. It's nothing. It's not nothing. Griffin handed the notebook back carefully. Dad asked you what you want for your birthday, didn't he? How did you know? He told me last night. Said he was going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Griffin made air quotes with his fingers. Classic dad move. Throw money or resources at a problem. Saxon looked down. He's trying to be nice. I know he is. Griffin sat on the arm of Saxon's chair. Look, Saxon, I'm not trying to be mean about Dad, but you and I both know he's better at building rockets than being, present. The word hung in the air between them. Present. Such a simple word. Such an impossible thing. What are you going to ask for? Griffin asked. I don't know yet, Saxon lied. Griffin gave him a look that said he didn't believe that, but he didn't push. Well, whatever it is, make it count. Dad doesn't make offers like this often. You could ask for literally anything. A car for when you turn 16, your own lab, a private island. He paused. Or you could ask for something that actually matters to you. Before Saxon could respond, their mom's voice floated up the stairs. Boys, breakfast, now please. Griffin stood up. Come on, can't avoid the birthday pancakes forever. Downstairs, the kitchen was exactly as Saxon expected. Balloons tied to chairs, a stack of presents on the counter. His mom, Shivan, smiling with her coffee mug. The household chef, Maria, carrying a plate of perfect chocolate chip pancakes with a single candle stuck in the top. Everyone sang. Saxon blew out the candle. He made a wish he knew wouldn't come true. The presents came next. The newest gaming console, not even released to the public yet. A custom leather jacket with his initials embroidered inside. A first edition book about space exploration. Concert tickets. A drone so advanced it probably required a license to fly. Do you like them? His mom asked, watching his face carefully. They're amazing, Saxon said. And he meant it. They were amazing. Each gift was thoughtful and expensive, and exactly the kind of thing a 12-year-old should love. But as he unwrapped each one, that heavy feeling in his chest grew heavier. After breakfast, Griffin disappeared to his room. Their mom had meetings all afternoon, something about her company's new AI project. Saxon was left alone with his new things, surrounded by everything a kid could want. He went up to his bedroom and looked around, really looked like he was seeing it for the first time. His room was bigger than most people's entire apartments. One wall was covered with signed photographs, astronauts, scientists, people who'd been to space or built amazing things. His desk held 3 different computers, each one more powerful than the last. Shelves displayed models of every SpaceX rocket ever launched. In the corner sat a telescope that cost more than a car. On his dresser was a picture from 2 years ago, Saxon and his dad at a rocket launch, both of them wearing matching SpaceX shirts, both grinning at the camera. Saxon picked it up, studying his father's face. Elon looked genuinely happy in that moment. So did Saxon. When was the last time they'd taken a picture together? His phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, his old friend from his old school, before everything got complicated. Marcus, hey man, happy birthday. Sorry I haven't texted in a while. How's it going? Saxon stared at the message. He and Marcus used to be best friends. They'd built Lego cities together, created entire imaginary worlds, stayed up late during sleepovers talking about everything and nothing. But then Marcus came to Saxon's house once, saw the security guards and the famous last name and the way adults treated Saxon differently, and something changed. Marcus got quiet, uncomfortable. The invitations stopped coming. The texts got shorter and less frequent. Saxon typed back, "Thanks. It's good. How are you?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Marcus, "Good. Busy with school and stuff. Anyway, just wanted to say happy birthday." That was it. No, wanna hang out? No, let's play online later. Just a polite birthday message because that's what people did. Saxon set his phone down and lay back on his bed, staring at his ceiling. Up there, he'd stuck glow-in-the-dark stars when he was 8. They'd seemed magical then. Now they just seemed fake. That evening, his tutor, Mr. Peterson, arrived for their session. Saxon usually enjoyed learning. He loved science and math and the way problems had clear solutions. But today, he couldn't focus. "Saxon?" Mr. Peterson was looking at him with concern. "You've been staring at that same equation for 10 minutes. Are you feeling all right?" "I'm fine," Saxon said, "just tired." "It's your birthday. We can skip today if you want." "No, it's okay." Saxon forced himself to focus on the numbers in front of him. Numbers made sense. Numbers had right answers. Numbers didn't require you to feel things you couldn't explain. After the tutoring session, Saxon wandered downstairs. He could hear his father's voice coming from the office. That animated, passionate tone Elon used when he was excited about something. Saxon paused outside the door, listening. No, you're not understanding the vision here," Elon was saying. "If we can reduce the cost per launch by another 30%, we're talking about revolutionizing access to space entirely. This isn't just about Mars anymore. This is about making humanity a multi-planetary species within our lifetime." Saxon listened to his father's voice rise and fall with enthusiasm. He could picture Elon pacing, gesturing with his hands, eyes bright with possibilities. This was his father at his best, solving impossible problems, dreaming bigger than anyone else dared. Saxon turned away from the door and walked to the dining room. Dinner was being set up. Another elaborate meal, prepared perfectly, served with care. He sat down at the long table. Soon, Griffin joined him. Then, their mom. Then, eventually, Elon, still holding his phone, still half present in whatever conversation he'd been having. They ate. They talked about safe things, school, projects, weekend plans. Elon's phone buzzed constantly. He ignored it twice, then checked it on the third buzz. "Sorry," he said, typing quickly. "Just 1 second." Saxon watched his father's thumbs move across the screen, watched his eyes scan whatever message had come through, watched him make a decision that probably affected thousands of people, millions of dollars, the future of technology. Saxon picked at his food and said nothing. After dinner, Elon caught Saxon in the hallway. "Hey, buddy, have you thought about what you want? For your birthday gift?" Saxon's heart jumped into his throat. "I'm still thinking." "Okay, but you know I'm serious, right? Whatever you want. Sky's the limit. Actually, not even the sky. Space is the limit." Elon smiled at his own joke. "I know, Dad, I want to be sure." Elon studied his son's face, and for a moment, Saxon thought his father might see it, might understand without being told. But then Elon's phone rang, and the moment broke. "I have to take this," Elon said apologetically. "But think about it, okay? We'll talk soon." He answered the phone and walked away, his voice already shifting back to business mode. Saxon stood alone in the hallway of his enormous house, surrounded by everything money could buy, and felt more invisible than he'd ever felt in his life. He went back to his room, opened his notebook, and stared at the drawing of 2 figures standing together. What if he asked and his father said yes but didn't mean it? What if he asked and his father said yes but couldn't actually do it? What if he asked and his father said no? Which would be worse, having hope and losing it, or never asking at all? Saxon didn't know. All he knew was that tomorrow at school, kids would ask what he got for his birthday, and he'd show them pictures of expensive things, and they'd be impressed. And none of them would understand that the only thing he really wanted was the one thing he was afraid to ask for. He turned to a fresh page in his notebook and began to write, his hand shaking slightly. "Dear Dad, what I really want for my birthday is..." He stopped, crossed it out, started over, stopped again. The blank page stared back at him, as empty as his answer, as heavy as the question he carried in his chest. Saxon crumpled the paper and threw it toward his trash can. It bounced off the rim and landed on the floor. He didn't pick it up. The next morning, Saxon's driver, a quiet man named Jerome, took him to school in one of the black SUVs. Griffin rode in the front seat, earbuds in, nodding to music Saxon couldn't hear. Saxon sat in the back, watching Austin pass by through tinted windows. The Berkeley Academy was a private school where most kids had wealthy parents, but even here, Saxon stood out. Not because he wanted to, because his last name made it impossible not to. Jerome pulled up to the front entrance. Other kids were being dropped off by regular cars, regular parents. Some rode bikes. A few walked together in groups, laughing about something that happened over the weekend. "Have a good day, Saxon," Jerome said. "Thanks," Saxon replied, grabbing his backpack. Griffin was already halfway to the upper school building, where the high schoolers had their classes. He didn't look back. Saxon didn't blame him. Griffin had his own friends, his own life. That was normal for a 16-year-old. Saxon walked through the front doors of the middle school section. Immediately he felt it, that shift in the air when people noticed him. Conversations didn't stop exactly, but they changed, got quieter, more careful. "Hey, Saxon," called out Tyler Chen, a kid from his math class. Tyler was always friendly, always smiling. "Happy birthday, man. Did you get anything cool?" "Yeah, some stuff," Saxon said, trying to sound casual. "Like what?" Tyler asked, and now other kids were listening too. Saxon shrugged. "Gaming console, some books, a drone." "Which console?" asked another kid, Emma Rodriguez. "The X Series Pro." "That's not even out yet." Tyler's eyes went wide. "How did you get one?" Saxon didn't know how to answer that without sounding like he was bragging. "My dad. He has connections." "That's so sick," Tyler said. "Can I come over and try it sometime?" Saxon had heard this before. Kids wanted to come over to see his house, his stuff, his famous father. Not to hang out with Saxon. Not really. "Maybe," Saxon said. "I'll have to check." The bell rang, saving him from further conversation. Saxon headed to his first class, English with Mrs. Palmer. He slid into his usual seat by the window and pulled out his notebook. Mrs. Palmer started talking about their current book, a story about a boy who ran away from home to live in the mountains. Saxon tried to pay attention, but his mind kept drifting. "Saxon?" Mrs. Palmer's voice cut through his thoughts. "Can you tell us why you think Sam left his family?" Saxon looked up. Everyone was staring at him. He hadn't been following along. Saxon said, scrambling. "Because he wanted freedom?" Mrs. Palmer smiled kindly. "Close. Can you be more specific?" Saxon looked down at the book, finding the passage they must have been discussing. He felt like nobody really saw him, like he was just in the way, so he left to find a place where he mattered. The classroom went quiet. Mrs. Palmer's expression changed, became gentler somehow. "That's exactly right, Saxon," she said softly. Thank you." Saxon spent the rest of the class staring out the window, thinking about a fictional boy who ran away to a mountain and wondering if Sam ever missed his family, if freedom was worth being alone. At lunch, Saxon sat with a group of kids from his grade. They were nice enough. They talked about video games and movies and who said what to whom. Saxon listened more than he talked. "My dad said your dad might buy another company," said Brandon Lee, biting into his sandwich. "Is that true?" "I don't know," Saxon said, which was honest. His father didn't discuss business decisions with him. "Must be cool, knowing all that stuff before anyone else," Brandon continued. "I don't really know anything," Saxon said, "but you live with him. You must hear things." Saxon felt that familiar tightness in his chest. "He's pretty busy. We don't talk about work much." "Still," Brandon said, "it must be amazing, having Elon Musk as your dad." Saxon looked at his lunch tray. "Yeah, amazing." After lunch came science class with Ms. Rivera. Saxon usually loved science. It was his favorite subject. Today they were working on group projects about renewable energy. Saxon's group consisted of him, a girl named Priya, and two boys named Jack and Cameron. "Okay," Priya said, taking charge like she always did. "We need to decide our topic: solar, wind, hydroelectric." "What about Tesla?" Cameron suggested, looking at Saxon. "Saxon could tell us about how the batteries work." "This is supposed to be our research," Priya said. "Not just asking Saxon for insider information?" "I was just saying—" "Let's do solar," Jack interrupted. "It's the most straightforward." They all looked at Saxon, waiting for his approval, like his opinion mattered more because of his last name. "Solar is fine," Saxon said quietly. They worked for the rest of the period, but Saxon noticed the pattern. Whenever he suggested something, everyone agreed. Not because his ideas were best, but because they were his. When he tried to defer to others, they looked uncomfortable, like they were afraid to disagree with him. By the time school ended, Saxon felt exhausted in a way that had nothing to do with schoolwork. He found Jerome waiting in the usual spot. The drive home was quiet. Griffin had chess club and wouldn't be home until later. Saxon was dropped off at the front door of the house that never quite felt like home. Inside, the house was humming with its usual activity. Maria was preparing dinner in the kitchen. Someone was vacuuming upstairs. Through his father's office door, Saxon could hear Elon on another call, his voice carrying that same passionate intensity from the night before. Saxon went straight to the library, his favorite hiding spot. He found the book Mrs. Palmer had been talking about, the one about Sam running away to the mountains. He'd read it before, but he picked it up again, finding the part where Sam explained why he left. "I just wanted to be important to somebody," Sam wrote in his journal. "Not because of what I could give them or what my name meant, just because of me." Saxon closed the book and stared out the window. The afternoon sun made everything look golden and perfect. The manicured lawn, the expensive cars, the life everyone thought was perfect. He heard footsteps and looked up to see Ms. Rivera, not his teacher, Ms. Rivera, but Ms. Rivera, the household manager, standing in the doorway. "Saxon, honey, you have tutoring in 30 minutes. Mr. Peterson will be here soon." "Okay," Saxon said. "Thanks." She left, and Saxon was alone again with his thoughts. He pulled out his phone and scrolled through his contacts. Marcus's name was there, but Saxon didn't text him. What would he say? "Hey, want to hang out?" Marcus would make an excuse. They both knew it. There was a knock on the library door. Saxon looked up, expecting Ms. Rivera again, but instead, his father stood there. "Hey, buddy," Elon said. "Got a minute?" Saxon's heart did that little jump again. "Sure." Elon came in and sat down, looking more tired than usual. dark circles under his eyes. His shirt wrinkled in a way that meant he'd been wearing it too long. "I wanted to check in," Elon said, "about the birthday thing. It's been almost a week, and you still haven't told me what you want." Saxon's mouth went dry. "I know. I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry. I'm just curious." Elon leaned back in his chair. "Usually, when someone offers you anything in the world, you have at least some ideas. But you seem stuck. Is there something wrong? Is it too much pressure?" "No, it's not that." "Then what is it?" Saxon looked at his father, really looked at him. Elon's gray eyes were focused completely on Saxon right now, in this moment. This was the father Saxon loved, the one who was actually present, actually here. But Saxon knew from experience that this moment wouldn't last. A phone would ring. An emergency would happen. Something more important would pull his father away. "What if—" Saxon started, then stopped. "What if what?" Elon encouraged. "What if what I wanted wasn't a thing? What if it was something else?" Elon tilted his head, thinking. "Like an experience? We could do that. Trip somewhere, adventure, educational opportunity." "Not exactly," Saxon said quietly. "Then what, exactly?" Saxon's courage failed him. He could feel the words in his throat, heavy and real, but he couldn't push them out. What if he asked and everything changed? What if he asked and nothing changed? "I'm still figuring it out," Saxon said instead. "Can I have a little more time?" Elon studied his son's face, and Saxon saw confusion there. His father was used to problems with clear solutions. This wasn't that kind of problem. "Okay," Elon said finally. "But Saxon, I need you to know I'm serious about this. Whatever it is you want, I'll make it happen. I promise you that." The words were kind. The intention was good. But Elon didn't understand that some promises couldn't be kept with money or resources or connections. Some promises required something much harder to give. Elon's phone buzzed in his pocket. He ignored it once. Twice. On the third buzz, he pulled it out and glanced at the screen. "I'm sorry," he said, standing up. "There's a situation at Starbase. I need to—" "It's okay," Saxon said quickly. "Go. It's fine." Elon hesitated at the door, looking back at his son sitting alone in the big library with books he didn't want to read. "We'll talk more later," Elon said. "I promise." Then he was gone, his voice already on the phone, already solving someone else's problem. Saxon sat very still, listening to his father's footsteps fade down the hallway. He pulled out his notebook and opened to that drawing of two figures standing together. Using his finger, he traced the outline of the smaller figure, then the larger one. Then, very carefully, he drew something new between them, a small circle like a campfire, or a light, or maybe just the space where two people could exist together without the whole world watching. Mr. Peterson arrived for tutoring. Saxon put his notebook away and pretended to care about algebra. He gave the right answers. He showed his work. He was a good student because that's what was expected. But inside, he was that boy from the book, Sam, standing on a mountain, wondering if anyone back home noticed he was gone. That night at dinner, Elon asked again, "Any thoughts on your gift yet?" And Saxon said again, "Still thinking." And his father said again, "Take your time." And the question sat between them like a wall neither of them knew how to climb. 3 weeks passed like water through Saxon's fingers, there one moment, gone the next, leaving nothing behind but the feeling of something slipping away. November turned into December. The Texas air grew colder, though not like real winter in other places. Just enough to need a jacket in the mornings. Just enough to remind Saxon that time was moving forward whether he was ready or not. His father asked about the gift every few days. Each time, Saxon gave the same answer, still thinking. Each time, Elon looked more puzzled, more frustrated in that way he got when problems didn't have obvious solutions. Saxon kept going to school, kept eating dinner with his family, kept doing his homework, and attending his tutoring sessions. From the outside, everything looked normal. But inside, Saxon felt like he was carrying something heavy, a secret that grew heavier every day he didn't speak it. On a Wednesday afternoon in early December, Saxon's teacher, Ms. Rivera, asked to speak with him after class. He stayed behind while the other students filed out, their voices echoing in the hallway. "Saxon," Ms. Rivera said gently, sitting on the edge of her desk. "I wanted to check in with you. You've seemed distracted lately. Is everything all right at home?" Saxon's first instinct was to say yes, everything was fine, because that's what he always said. But something about the way Ms. Rivera asked, with genuine concern, not curiosity, made him pause. "It's complicated," he said finally. "Most important things are." She smiled. "You know, you're one of my brightest students, Saxon. But lately, it's like you're here in body but not in spirit. I'm worried about you." Saxon looked down at his hands. Nobody had said that to him before. Not in that way. "I'm worried about you." "I'm okay," he said, but his voice cracked slightly on the word, "okay." Ms. Rivera was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "When I was your age, my father was a diplomat. Very important, very busy, traveled all the time. And I remember feeling like I had to be grateful for everything I had. Nice house, good schools, opportunities other kids didn't get. But I also remember feeling very alone." Saxon looked up at her, surprised. "I'm not saying that's how you feel," Ms. Rivera continued. "I'm just saying, sometimes the kids who seem like they have everything are the ones who need someone to ask if they're really okay. So I'm asking, are you really okay, Saxon?" The question hung in the air between them. Saxon felt tears prick his eyes and blinked them back hard. "I don't know," he whispered. "I don't know how to answer that." "That's an answer too," Ms. Rivera said softly. "A honest one." She didn't push him to say more, didn't ask questions he couldn't answer, just gave him a gentle smile and said, "My door is always open if you need to talk about science or life or anything in between." Saxon nodded, not trusting his voice. That evening, he came home to find the house unusually busy. Cars in the driveway, voices in the living room. He recognized his Uncle Kimball's laugh, deep and warm. Saxon found them in the study, his father and uncle sitting with drinks, talking in that easy way brothers do. They looked up when Saxon appeared in the doorway. "There's the birthday boy!" Kimball stood and pulled Saxon into a hug. "Wait, was your birthday 3 weeks ago? I'm the worst uncle." "It's okay," Saxon said, managing a smile. Kimball always made things feel lighter somehow. "It's not okay. I owe you a present. What do you want? And don't say I'm still thinking, because your dad told me about that." Kimball winked. Saxon glanced at his father, who shrugged apologetically. "I mentioned it," Elon said. "Kimball thinks I'm overthinking the whole thing." "You are overthinking it," Kimball said, settling back into his chair. "The kid wants something. He's 12. Just let him think about it. No pressure." But Saxon could see the tension in his father's shoulders, the way Elon's fingers drummed against his glass. His father didn't like unsolved problems, didn't like waiting, didn't like not knowing. "I should let you guys talk," Saxon said. "Stay," Elon said quickly. "We're just catching up. How was school?" "Fine. We're doing group projects in science." "What's your topic?" Kimball asked. Solar energy. Fitting, Kimball grinned. Does your group know they're working with a ringer? It's not like that, Saxon said. I'm just part of the group. Something in his tone made both adults pause. Elon set down his drink. Saxon, he said slowly, do the other kids treat you differently? Because of me? Saxon hadn't expected the directness of the question. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other. Sometimes, he admitted, not in a bad way. Just different. Different how? Elon pressed. Saxon thought about how to explain it. Like they're always a little bit careful around me. Like they think everything I say matters more than what they say. Or like they want to be my friend, but also want to meet you, and I can't tell which one is more important to them. The room went very quiet. Kimball was the first to speak. That sounds lonely. Saxon's throat tightened. I have friends. I didn't say you didn't, Kimball said gently. I said it sounds lonely. Those are different things. Elon looked like someone had punched him. Saxon, I didn't know. It's not your fault, Saxon said quickly. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just how things are. But if I'd known, I could have... Elon stopped, seeming to realize he didn't know how to finish that sentence. Could have what, Dad? Saxon asked, and there was no anger in his voice, just genuine curiosity. Changed your name? Stopped being famous? It's okay, really. I'm used to it. You shouldn't have to be used to it, Elon said quietly. You're 12. Saxon shrugged, a gesture that tried to make everything smaller, less important. Lots of kids have it worse. At least I have a good school and a nice house and... Stop, Kimball interrupted. Don't do that. Don't minimize how you feel by comparing it to other people's problems. Your feelings are valid whether someone else has it worse or not. Saxon stared at his uncle, surprised by the firmness in his voice. He's right, Elon said, and he sounded almost angry. Not at Saxon, but at himself. You don't have to be grateful all the time, Saxon. You're allowed to feel however you feel. Saxon didn't know what to say to that. Permission to feel things. He'd never thought of it that way before. I should do my homework, he said finally, because the conversation was getting too big, too real, and he didn't know how to handle it. Okay, Elon said, but he looked like he wanted to say more. Saxon left them there and went upstairs to his room. He could hear their voices continuing below, quieter now, serious. He wondered if they were talking about him. He pulled out his notebook and stared at his drawings, the Mars colony he'd been designing. The two figures standing together, the campfire he'd added between them. His phone buzzed, a text from Griffin, family dinner tomorrow night. Mom says mandatory attendance. Uncle Kimball's staying over. Saxon texted back, okay, another buzz, this time from his mom. Sweetheart, I know you've had a lot on your mind. Want to talk about anything? How did parents know these things? Saxon wondered. Was it obvious that he was struggling? Had his teacher called home? I'm okay, he texted back. Just tired. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, I'm here if you need me. Love you too, Saxon replied. He set his phone down and lay back on his bed, staring at the glow in the dark stars on his ceiling. They were starting to lose their glow. He'd need to charge them with light soon, or they'd fade completely. That night, Saxon couldn't sleep. He got up around midnight and wandered downstairs for water. The house was dark and quiet. Most of the staff had gone home. Even the ever-present hum of activity had stilled. As he passed his father's office, Saxon saw light under the door. He paused, listening. Not sure what to do, Kimball. His father's voice, tired and uncertain in a way Saxon rarely heard. He won't tell me what he wants, and I can't fix a problem I don't understand. Maybe that's the point, Kimball's voice responded. Maybe it's not a problem to fix. Maybe it's just something to feel. I'm not good at that, Elon said, and there was something vulnerable in his admission. I know, brother, but Saxon is your son, not an engineering challenge. You can't optimize your way through this one. Silence. Then Elon's voice again, quieter. What if what he needs is something I can't give him? Like what? I don't know. That's what scares me. Saxon stepped away from the door, his heart pounding. He'd never heard his father sound scared before. Uncertain, yes. Frustrated, often. But scared, never. He went back to his room without getting water. The next evening, the whole family gathered for dinner. Elon, Griffin, their mom Shivan, and Uncle Kimball. Maria had made a feast. Roasted chicken, vegetables, homemade bread, chocolate cake for dessert. For a while, it was nice. Kimball told stories about the restaurant business that made everyone laugh. Griffin talked about his chess tournament. Their mom shared updates about her company's latest AI development. Saxon listened, smiled at the right moments, ate his food. He felt his father watching him throughout the meal, those gray eyes studying him like he was trying to solve an equation. Then, during dessert, Elon's phone rang. Everyone at the table went still. Elon looked at the screen, then at his family. I need to take this. No, Kimball said firmly. You don't. Elon blinked. What? You don't need to take that call. Not right now. Not during family dinner. Kimball, it's the Starbase director. There's always something, Kimball interrupted. There's always an emergency, always a crisis, always something more important than the moment you're in. But look around this table, Elon. Your sons are here. Your family is here. This is the moment. This call will still be there in an hour. The phone kept ringing. Elon stared at it like it was a puzzle he couldn't solve. Saxon watched his father's face, saw the conflict there, the pull between what he was being told he should do and what every instinct in his body was screaming at him to do. The phone went to voicemail. The table remained silent. Elon started, then stopped. He set the phone down, face down on the table. You're right. I'm sorry. Let's finish dinner. But the damage was done. The moment was broken. Even though Elon stayed, even though he didn't pick up the phone when it rang again 2 minutes later, everyone could feel his attention split. Saxon excused himself before cake was served. He went to his room, closed the door, and finally let himself cry. Not loud, angry sobs, just quiet tears that slid down his face and dripped onto his notebook. He opened to a blank page and started writing, not caring if the words made sense. I want to ask you for something that costs nothing and everything. I want to ask for time, real time, time where you're actually here, not just physically present, but mentally present too. Time where your phone doesn't matter. Time where I matter more than Mars or Tesla or saving the world. But I'm afraid. I'm afraid that if I ask, you'll say yes, but won't really mean it. Or you'll mean it, but won't be able to do it. Or you'll try and fail, and then we'll both know the truth, that I'm not important enough to pull you away from the things that really matter to you. So I don't ask, and I stay invisible. And you think everything is fine because I have expensive things and good grades and a nice life. And I carry this question in my chest like a weight that gets heavier every single day. Saxon stared at the words he'd written. Then, carefully, he tore the page out of his notebook. He folded it into a small square and tucked it into the back of his desk drawer, where it sat next to the drawing of two figures standing by a campfire. Tomorrow, he told himself. Tomorrow he would find the courage to speak. But tomorrow came, and Saxon said nothing. And the day after that. And the day after that. Until 3 weeks had become 4, and 4 had become 5, and the birthday that was supposed to change everything had faded into the background of normal life, and the question remained unasked, and the answer remained unknown, and Saxon remained invisible in a house full of everything except the one thing he needed. December 15th arrived cold and gray, the kind of morning where the sun hid behind clouds and everything felt muted and far away. Saxon woke up to a text from his father, sent at 5:47 a.m., "Clear your schedule today. I'm picking you up from school at noon. No questions. Just trust me." Saxon stared at the message, reading it 3 times to make sure he understood. His father was picking him up from school? His father, who hadn't driven him anywhere in... Saxon couldn't remember how long. At breakfast, Griffin noticed Saxon's distracted expression. "You okay?" "Dad's picking me up from school today," Saxon said quietly, so their mom wouldn't hear from the other room. Griffin's eyebrows shot up. "Seriously? Like Dad himself? Not Jerome?" "That's what he said." "Huh." Griffin poured himself orange juice. "That's different. Maybe he finally figured out what you really want." Saxon's stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" Griffin gave him a knowing look. "Come on, Saxon. I'm not stupid. You've been walking around for weeks like you're carrying the weight of the world, and Dad's been stressed about your birthday gift. Doesn't take a genius to connect the dots." "You don't have to tell me," Griffin interrupted gently. "But whatever it is you need to say to him, maybe today's your chance. He's actually making the effort to spend time with you. That's rare. Don't waste it." The morning at school dragged like molasses. Saxon couldn't focus in English. In math, he solved the same problem 3 times without realizing he'd already done it. By the time lunch rolled around, he'd chewed his pencil down to nothing, and his stomach was in knots. At 11:55, Ms. Rivera called him to the office. "Your father's here," the secretary said with a smile. "You're being signed out for the day?" Saxon grabbed his backpack and walked to the front of the school. Through the glass doors, he could see not one of the black SUVs with Jerome at the wheel, but a regular Tesla. No security, no entourage. And behind the wheel, his father, wearing jeans and a t-shirt, looking more casual than Saxon had seen him in months. Saxon walked outside slowly, almost afraid this was a dream he might wake up from. Elon rolled down the window. "Get in, buddy. We're going on an adventure." "Where?" Saxon asked, sliding into the passenger seat. "You'll see." Elon pulled away from the school, and Saxon noticed something immediately. His father's phone was nowhere in sight. No device on the dashboard, no Bluetooth connection blinking, nothing. "Dad, where's your phone?" "In the glove compartment," Elon said, not taking his eyes off the road. "Turned off. Today it's just you and me. No interruptions, no emergencies, no saving the world. Just us." Saxon's heart started beating faster. "What about whatever it is? Someone else can handle it." Elon glanced at him with a small smile. "I realized something recently. I've been so busy trying to give you everything that I forgot to ask what you actually needed. And I think I've been avoiding the answer because I was afraid I already knew what it was." They drove in silence for a while, leaving the city behind. The landscape changed from buildings to rolling hills, from concrete to grass and trees. Saxon watched his father's hands on the steering wheel, steady, certain, like he knew exactly where they were going, even though he hadn't told Saxon yet. After 45 minutes, Elon turned down a narrow road Saxon had never seen before. At the end of it sat a small cabin near a lake, surrounded by oak trees that had lost most of their leaves for winter. "What is this place?" Saxon asked as they pulled up. "I rented it for the day," Elon said, turning off the car. "It's ours until tomorrow morning if we want it. No staff, no security, no schedule. Just a cabin, a lake, and all the time in the world." They got out of the car. The air smelled like wood smoke and cold water. Somewhere nearby, a bird called out, and another answered. Saxon couldn't remember the last time he'd been somewhere so quiet. "Come on," Elon said, grabbing a bag from the trunk. "Let's see if we can figure out how to work the fireplace without burning the place down." Inside, the cabin was simple but warm. One main room with a stone fireplace, a small kitchen, a wooden table, and a couple of couches that looked well used but comfortable. Through the back window, Saxon could see the lake stretching out, its surface rippled by wind. Elon dropped the bag, which turned out to be full of sandwiches and snacks, on the counter and turned to face the fireplace like it was an engineering challenge. "Okay," he said, studying the logs and kindling. "How hard can this be?" Very hard, as it turned out. They spent 20 minutes trying to get the fire started. Elon's first 3 attempts produced nothing but smoke. Saxon's suggestion to crumple more paper helped, but the kindling kept going out. "For someone who builds rockets," Saxon said, laughing as another attempt failed, "you're really bad at this." "Rockets are easier," Elon admitted, grinning. "They follow physics. Fire just does whatever it wants." On the 6th try, using almost all their newspaper and way too much kindling, they finally got a flame to catch and hold. Both of them cheered like they'd landed a spacecraft on Mars. They sat on the floor in front of the fireplace, eating sandwiches and watching the fire grow stronger. For a long time, neither of them spoke. It wasn't an awkward silence. It was comfortable, easy, the kind of quiet that didn't need filling. Finally, Elon said, "You want to skip some stones?" They bundled up in jackets and went down to the lake. Elon found a handful of flat stones and showed Saxon the technique. Low angle, wrist snap, just the right spin. His first throw got 2 skips. Saxon's got none. Like this, Elon demonstrated again, and this time got 4 skips. Saxon tried again, 1 skip, then the stone sank. "Better," Elon encouraged. "Try loosening your wrist." They threw stones until Saxon finally got 3 skips in a row. He pumped his fist in victory, and Elon high-fived him, both of them laughing at something so simple, so ordinary, so perfect. As the sun started to sink lower, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, they returned to the cabin. Elon added more logs to the fire while Saxon explored the small bookshelf in the corner. Old paperbacks, board games, a deck of cards. "Want to play something?" Saxon asked, holding up the cards. "Sure. What do you know?" "Crazy Eights?" "I have no idea how to play that." Saxon's eyes widened. "Seriously? Dad, it's like the most basic card game ever." "Teach me," Elon said, settling cross-legged on the floor. So Saxon taught his father Crazy Eights, explaining the rules with the patience of someone who'd learned from Griffin years ago. Elon picked it up quickly. Of course he did, but he also made mistakes, drew the wrong cards, forgot which suit was trump, and laughed at himself in a way Saxon had never seen before. They played until the light outside faded completely, and the fire was the only brightness in the room. Then they just sat there, wrapped in blankets, watching the flames dance and shift. "Saxon," Elon said quietly, breaking the comfortable silence. I need to tell you something." Saxon's heart jumped into his throat. "Okay." "I've been thinking a lot about your birthday gift, about why you haven't told me what you want, and I think—" Elon paused, choosing his words carefully. "I think I've been approaching this all wrong. I kept asking what I could give you, what I could buy you, what I could build for you. But that's not what you need, is it?" Saxon felt tears prick his eyes. He shook his head, not trusting his voice. "I'm not good at this," Elon continued, his voice rough with emotion. "Being present, being just a dad. I'm good at solving impossible problems and building the future and changing industries. But sitting still, being in one moment without thinking about the next 10 things, that's harder for me than rocket science. It always has been." "Dad, let me finish," Elon said gently, "because I need to say this. I've been so focused on giving you opportunities, experiences, advantages that I never had growing up. And in doing that, I forgot the one thing I needed most when I was your age. Someone who just saw me, really saw me. Not what I could do or what I might become, but just me." A tear slid down Saxon's cheek, then another. "So I'm sorry," Elon said, and his voice cracked. "I'm sorry that I've been so busy trying to change the world that I haven't been present for yours. I'm sorry that you felt invisible in your own life. I'm sorry that you've been carrying around this question for weeks, afraid to ask because you thought I couldn't give you what you needed." Saxon couldn't hold it back anymore. The tears came freely now, months of loneliness and longing spilling out. "But you can tell me now," Elon said, moving closer and putting his arm around Saxon's shoulders. "Whatever it is you want for your birthday, tell me. And I promise, I really promise this time, I'll listen." Saxon took a shaky breath, trying to find the words he'd been rehearsing in his head for weeks. "I don't want things," he said, his voice small and broken. "I don't want more games or trips or experiences. I don't even want you to stop working or save the world or any of that." "Then what?" Elon asked softly. "What do you want, Saxon?" Saxon turned to look at his father, this brilliant, driven, impossible man who could solve any problem except the one right in front of him. "I want you," Saxon said, and his voice cracked completely. "Not your money, not your companies, not trips or toys or opportunities. I want you to know me. I want you to ask about my day and actually listen to the answer. I want to show you my drawings and have you look at them for more than 3 seconds. I want dinner without your phone. I want you to come to my science fair, even if it's not about rockets. I want you to meet Marcus and actually talk to him, not just see him as a security consideration." The words were tumbling out now, faster and faster. Everything Saxon had been holding inside for so long. "I want you to look at me the way you look at your projects, with that focus, that intensity, like I'm interesting and important and worth your time. I want—" Saxon's voice broke completely. "I want my dad. Just my regular dad. Not Elon Musk the genius, or the billionaire, or the guy who's going to Mars. I want the dad who's just mine, even if it's just for an hour a week. That's what I want for my birthday. I want time with you, real time, where I matter more than Twitter or Tesla or saving humanity." The silence that followed was so complete that Saxon could hear his own heart pounding. He'd said it, finally said it, all of it. He was terrified to look at his father's face, but then he felt Elon's arms wrap around him, pulling him into a tight hug, and when Saxon finally looked up, he saw tears streaming down his father's face too. "I'm so sorry," Elon whispered. I'm so sorry, Saxon. You are important. You're the most important. I forgot how to show it. I got so caught up in everything else that I forgot the person who needed me most was right in front of me all along. They stayed like that for a long time, father and son, holding on to each other in front of a fire they'd built together, in a cabin with no phones or schedules or demands from the outside world. When they finally pulled apart, both of their faces were wet with tears, but Saxon felt lighter than he had in months, maybe years. So, Elon said, wiping his eyes and managing a watery smile, if what you want for your birthday is me, real time together, then let's make that happen. What would that look like? Saxon thought about it. Every Sunday, he said carefully, testing the words. Just us. No phones, no work, no interruptions. We could do whatever you want, build something, explore somewhere, or just sit and talk. I don't care what we do. I just want you to be there, really there. Every Sunday, Elon repeated, and Saxon could see him processing, rearranging his mental schedule, making room. I can do that. I will do that. You promise? Saxon asked, his voice small. Like, really promise? Because if you promise, and then... I promise, Elon said firmly, putting his hand on Saxon's shoulder. And I know my promises haven't meant much lately. I know I've broken them without even realizing it. But Saxon, I'm making you a new promise right now. Every Sunday is yours. Ours. Sacred. No matter what's happening with work, no matter what emergency comes up, no matter what, every Sunday, I'm your dad first and everything else second. Saxon searched his father's face, looking for doubt or hesitation, but all he saw was determination and something that looked like relief, like Elon had finally found the answer to a problem that had been haunting him. Okay, Saxon whispered. Okay. And I can't promise I'll be perfect at this, Elon continued. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to get distracted sometimes or fall back into old patterns. But when I do, I need you to call me on it. Tell me. Don't just accept it and feel invisible again. Deal? Deal, Saxon said, and for the first time in weeks, he smiled a real smile. They sat there as the fire crackled and popped, and Elon asked, "So what do you want to do with our first official Sunday?" Saxon thought about all the elaborate activities they could do, all the places they could go, all the experiences money could buy. "Can I show you my Mars colony designs?" he asked instead. "The ones I've been working on? I want to know what you really think. Not just, that's great, buddy, but actual feedback, like you would give to someone on your team." Elon's face lit up. "I would love that. Really love that. Do you have them with you?" Saxon shook his head. "They're at home, in my notebook." "Then that's what we'll do tomorrow when we get back. You show me your designs, we'll talk through them, really dig into the engineering challenges and solutions. I'll treat you like the brilliant designer you are, not just my kid who draws nice pictures." "Tomorrow's Monday," Saxon pointed out. "Don't you have—" "I'm clearing my morning," Elon said. "Some things are more important than meetings. I'm starting to remember that." They stayed up late, feeding the fire and talking about everything and nothing. Elon shared stories from his own childhood that Saxon had never heard, about being bullied in school, about feeling different and alone, about escaping into books and computers because people were too hard to understand. Saxon shared things too, about how kids at school treated him, about losing Marcus as a friend, about feeling like he had to be grateful all the time, even when he was lonely. "You don't have to be grateful for being lonely," Elon said fiercely. "You never have to be grateful for that. I don't care how nice your house is or how many opportunities you have. Loneliness is loneliness. and it's valid, and I'm sorry I didn't see it." When they finally decided to sleep, they pulled the couch cushions onto the floor in front of the fireplace and lay there like they were camping, watching the flames slowly die down to embers. "Dad," Saxon said into the darkness. "Yeah?" "Thank you for today, for listening, for trying." "Thank you for telling me the truth," Elon replied, "even though you were scared. That took more courage than anything I've ever done with a rocket." Saxon smiled in the darkness. "I don't know about that." "I do," Elon said firmly. "Trust me. Asking for what you need from someone you're afraid might not give it to you, that's the bravest thing in the world." They fell asleep to the sound of the lake lapping against the shore and the fire settling into quiet coals, father and son side by side, no phones, no distractions, no world to save, just two people who'd finally found their way back to each other. The next morning, they woke to sunlight streaming through the windows and the smell of coffee from the small pot Elon had figured out how to work. They made toast over the fireplace because Elon insisted it would taste better that way. It didn't, but they laughed about it anyway. On the drive back to Austin, Saxon watched the landscape pass by and felt different somehow. Lighter, like he'd been holding his breath for months and could finally breathe again. "So," Elon said as they got closer to the city, "this Sunday, our first official one, what do you want to do?" Saxon thought about it. "Can we just hang out? Maybe you could help me with my science project, and we could order pizza and watch a movie or something. Nothing fancy, just normal dad and son stuff." "Normal dad and son stuff," Elon repeated, smiling. "I think I can handle that." When they got home, Griffin took one look at Saxon's face and grinned knowingly. Their mom hugged Saxon tight and whispered, "I'm glad you talked to him." That afternoon, Saxon spread his Mars colony designs across the dining room table. Elon sat down with him, and for 2 hours, 2 full hours without checking his phone once, they went through every detail. Elon asked questions, offered suggestions, treated Saxon's ideas with the same seriousness he'd give to his actual engineers. "This greenhouse concept is really clever," Elon said, pointing to Saxon's drawings. "The way you've oriented it to maximize sunlight exposure while protecting against radiation. That's solid thinking. Have you considered the water recycling system?" Saxon lit up. "Actually, yes. Look at this section here." They talked until dinner, and even then, Elon kept asking questions, kept engaging, kept being present. That night, as Saxon got ready for bed, he pulled out the folded piece of paper from his desk drawer, the one where he'd written all his fears and feelings. He read it one more time, then tore it into small pieces and threw it away. He didn't need it anymore, because the question had been asked, the answer had been given, and for the first time in longer than Saxon could remember, he didn't feel invisible. He felt seen. He felt heard. He felt like he mattered. And that was worth more than anything money could ever buy. 3 months later, Saxon woke up on Sunday morning to the smell of pancakes burning. He sat up in bed, confused for a moment, then smiled. It was Sunday. Their Sunday. He threw on sweatpants and a hoodie and padded downstairs in his socks. In the kitchen, he found his father standing over the stove, staring at a smoking pan with the concentration usually reserved for rocket trajectories. "Dad, I think they're done," Saxon said, trying not to laugh. Elon looked up, spatula in hand, his hair still messy from sleep. "I was going for golden brown. I got charcoal black." "Maybe we should stick to ordering breakfast," Saxon suggested. "Absolutely not." Elon scraped the burnt pancakes into the trash with determination. "I'm going to master this if it kills me. Your mother makes it look easy." Mom's been making pancakes since before I was born. Good point. Elon poured new batter into the pan. Okay, take 2. Lower heat this time. Saxon hopped up on the counter, watching his father work. This had become their routine over the past 3 months. Sunday mornings, Elon attempting to cook breakfast, usually failing, both of them laughing about it. Sometimes they gave up and ordered food. Sometimes they managed something edible. It didn't really matter either way. So what's the plan for today? Elon asked, eyes fixed on the pancake like it might explode. I was thinking we could work on the tree house, Saxon said. We're so close to finishing it. The tree house had been Elon's idea, a project they could build together from scratch. They'd started it 6 weeks ago in the massive oak tree in the backyard. It wasn't fancy or high-tech, just wood and nails and 2 people figuring things out as they went. Perfect, Elon said. I think we just need to add the roof, and yes, look at that. He proudly displayed a pancake that was actually, genuinely golden brown. You did it, Saxon cheered. Document this moment, Elon said seriously. Elon Musk successfully cooks pancake. This is going in the history books. They made 6 more pancakes, only 2 of which burned, and sat at the kitchen table eating them with way too much syrup. Through the window, Saxon could see the half-built treehouse waiting for them. Griffin's chess tournament is next Saturday, Saxon mentioned between bites. Are you going? Elon nodded. Already on my calendar. Wouldn't miss it. And Saxon knew he meant it, because in 3 months, his father had shown up to Saxon's science fair, where his solar energy project won 2nd place. He'd come to Griffin's last tournament too. He'd had dinner with the family every night he was in town, phone in another room, attention fully present. It wasn't perfect. 2 weeks ago, Elon had almost missed their Sunday because of an emergency at Starbase. But he'd caught himself, delegated the problem to his team, and shown up at noon with apologies and a promise to do better. I nearly broke our deal, Elon had admitted that day. But you didn't, Saxon had replied. That's what matters. After breakfast, they headed outside. The March air was warm and fresh, the kind of day that made you want to be outside doing nothing in particular. They spent the morning working on the treehouse. Elon measured boards while Saxon marked them for cutting. They argued good-naturedly about the best way to angle the roof. Elon's engineering mind wanted mathematical precision. Saxon wanted it to look cool. It can be both, Elon insisted, recalculating angles on a piece of scrap wood. Dad, it's a treehouse, not a spacecraft. All the more reason to build it right, but Elon was smiling as he said it. Griffin came out around 11, climbing up to inspect their progress. Not bad, he said, testing the floorboards. Might actually be sturdy enough to use. Might be. Elon looked offended. This structure could withstand a hurricane. It's Texas, not Florida, Griffin pointed out. Still. Elon hammered in another nail with unnecessary force. They worked until early afternoon, when the roof was finally attached and the treehouse was, miraculously, complete. All 3 of them sat inside it, cramped but satisfied, looking out over the backyard. We should put furniture up here, Saxon said. Maybe some cushions, make it comfortable. And lights, Griffin added. String lights would look cool. I'll order some, Elon said, pulling out his phone, then stopping himself. Actually, how about we go pick some out together? Make an afternoon of it. Saxon and Griffin exchanged surprised looks. Their father, volunteering to go to a store? In person? During daylight hours? Who are you and what have you done with our dad? Griffin joked. Very funny, Elon said, but he was smiling. Come on. Let's go before I change my mind. They piled into the car. A regular Tesla, no driver, no security detail. Just a dad and his two sons going to a home improvement store on a Sunday afternoon. At the store, they wandered through aisles of lights and outdoor furniture. Elon let the boys pick out what they wanted. Battery-powered lanterns, weatherproof cushions, a small bookshelf that would fit in the treehouse corner. "This is weird," Griffin whispered to Saxon as Elon examined different types of outdoor string lights with intense focus. "Good weird, or bad weird," Saxon whispered back. "Good weird, definitely good weird." An older woman passing by did a double take at Elon, clearly recognizing him. She opened her mouth like she was going to say something, then seemed to see him with his sons, and smiled instead, saying nothing, just nodding respectfully as she passed. "That was nice of her," Saxon said. "People are usually nice," Elon replied. "I just don't usually slow down enough to notice." They loaded up the car with their purchases and headed home. On the way, they passed Saxon's favorite burger place. "Want to grab lunch?" Elon asked. "Really?" Griffin said. "You hate that place. You always say the fries are too greasy." "The fries are objectively too greasy," Elon confirmed, "but Saxon loves it, so we're going." Inside the restaurant, they squeezed into a booth. Elon ordered a burger he probably wouldn't finish, and fries he definitely would complain about. Griffin ordered enough food for 3 people. Saxon got his usual bacon cheeseburger with extra pickles. While they waited for their food, Saxon's phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "Hey, still good for gaming tonight?" Saxon looked at the message, then at his father. "Dad, remember Marcus, my friend from my old school?" "The one you lost touch with?" Elon asked. Saxon nodded. "We've been talking again. He wanted to come over and play video games tonight, but I told him it was Sunday, our day, so we planned for later this week instead." "Saxon," Elon said seriously, "you don't have to schedule your whole life around our Sundays. If your friend wants to come over, invite him. But our deal is that Sundays are our time, but that doesn't mean I'm going to lock you in a room with just me all day." Elon smiled. "Invite Marcus over. I'd like to meet him properly this time, as your friend, not as a security concern." Saxon's eyes lit up. "Really?" "Really. Text him back." Saxon did, and Marcus responded immediately. "Awesome. Be there at 7? "Perfect," Saxon typed back, grinning. Their food arrived and they ate together, talking about nothing important and everything at once. Griffin told them about a girl in his class who might maybe possibly like him. Elon shared a story about a rocket test that had gone hilariously wrong. Saxon talked about his English teacher assigning a creative writing project. "What's the assignment?" Elon asked, stealing one of Griffin's fries. "We have to write about a time we showed courage," Saxon said. "What are you going to write about?" Griffin asked. Saxon thought about it, really thought about it. He could write about something physical, like learning to rock climb or trying out for the soccer team. But he knew what the real answer was. "I'm going to write about asking for what I needed," he said quietly. "Even when I was scared, you'd say no." Elon reached across the table and squeezed Saxon's shoulder. "That was brave," he said. "Braver than you know." After lunch, they went home and spent the rest of the afternoon installing the lights and cushions in the treehouse. By the time they finished, the sun was starting to set, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. They sat together in their completed treehouse, the 3 of them, watching the light change. "You know what?" Elon said quietly. "I've built billion-dollar companies. I've launched rockets into space. I've created technology that's changed the world. But this?" He gestured around the simple wooden structure they'd built together. "This might be my favorite thing I've ever made." "It's just a treehouse, Dad," Griffin said, but his voice was soft. "It's not just a treehouse," Elon replied. "It's proof that I can show up, that I can be present, that I can build something that matters, not because it's revolutionary or profitable or impressive, but because it makes my sons happy." Saxon felt that familiar tightness in his throat, but this time it was good, the kind that came from being so full of feeling you couldn't quite contain it all. At 7 o'clock, Marcus arrived. Saxon introduced him to Elon properly this time, not as "my dad, the billionaire," but just as "my dad." Elon shook Marcus's hand seriously. "Saxon's told me a lot about you. I'm glad you guys are hanging out again." "Me too," Marcus said, and Saxon could tell his friend was nervous, but trying to hide it. "The PlayStation's in the living room," Elon said. "Help yourself to whatever's in the kitchen. And, Marcus, you don't have to be careful around me. I'm just Saxon's dad. Treat me like any other dad, okay?" Marcus relaxed visibly. "Okay. Thanks, Mr. Musk. Elon is fine." The boys disappeared upstairs, and Saxon heard them laughing within minutes. The easy, comfortable laughter of friends who'd found their way back to each other. Later that night, after Marcus had gone home and Griffin was in his room and the house had settled into quiet, Saxon found his father in his office, not working for once, but sitting at his desk, looking at something on his computer screen. "Hey, buddy," Elon said, looking up. "Good night with Marcus?" "The best," Saxon said. "Thanks for letting him come over." "Of course." Elon turned his computer screen so Saxon could see it. "Look what I found." It was a photo from that day at the cabin, the day Saxon had finally asked for what he needed. Somehow, one of them had taken a picture without Saxon noticing. In it, they were sitting by the fire, mid-conversation, both smiling. Saxon remembered that moment, remembered feeling heard, feeling seen, feeling like he mattered. "I'm setting it as my phone background," Elon said, "so I remember. Every time I'm tempted to skip a Sunday or take that emergency call or prioritize something else, I'll see this picture and remember what actually matters." Saxon felt tears prick his eyes for the 100th time that day. Happy tears, grateful tears, healing tears. "I'm proud of you, you know," Elon said. "Not for what you achieve or what you might become someday. I'm proud of you for being you, for being brave enough to tell me the truth, for teaching me how to be a better father." "You're doing great, Dad," Saxon said, and he meant it. "I'm trying," Elon replied, "and I'm going to keep trying. Every single Sunday, every single day really, but especially Sundays." Saxon hugged his father goodnight and went upstairs to his room. He pulled out his notebook, a new one now with fresh blank pages waiting to be filled, and started writing. Not about Mars colonies or rocket designs, though those were still in there too, but about this. About a boy who had everything and nothing, who found the courage to ask for what he really needed, and a father who learned to listen. He wrote about treehouse building and burnt pancakes and string lights and oak trees. He wrote about second chances and showing up in the small, ordinary moments that turned out to be extraordinary. And when he finally closed his notebook and turned off his light, Saxon looked up at those glow-in-the-dark stars on his ceiling, the ones he'd recharged earlier that week so they'd glow bright again. They weren't fake anymore. They were a reminder that even things that fade can be renewed, that even broken patterns can be fixed, that even the smallest light matters in the darkness. Saxon fell asleep thinking about next Sunday, and the one after that, and all the Sundays stretching out ahead of them like a promise written in time instead of words. He had everything he'd ever wanted now. Not because of what money could buy, but because of what it couldn't. He had his father's time, his father's attention, his father's presence. And every Sunday, for the rest of his life, Saxon would wake up knowing that he wasn't invisible anymore. He was seen. He was heard. He mattered. And that was worth more than all the rockets and companies and technological marvels in the world. 3 years later, Saxon was 15 now, taller than his father, his voice deeper, his interests evolving. But every Sunday, without fail, they still had their time together. Sometimes they built things. Sometimes they just talked. Sometimes they sat in the treehouse, which had weathered 3 Texas summers and still stood strong, and read books side by side in comfortable silence. The tradition had expanded. Other family members joined sometimes. Friends were always welcome, but the core remained the same. Sundays were sacred. Phones stayed off. Work stayed distant. Nothing was more important than being present. Griffin, now 19 and in college, still came home for Sunday dinners when he could. "I wouldn't miss it," he always said. "This is the good stuff." One Sunday in spring, Saxon and Elon sat in the treehouse as the sun set, and Saxon asked, "Dad, do you ever regret it? All the things you could have accomplished if you'd worked 7 days a week instead of 6? Elon was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I used to think I would, but you know what I've learned? I'm actually better at my work now, more focused, more creative, because I know that when Sunday comes, I can let it all go and just be your dad. It makes me better at everything else." He turned to look at Saxon. "But even if it didn't, even if taking Sundays off meant I accomplished half as much, it would still be worth it. Because the day you asked me for time instead of things was the day you saved me from losing something I could never get back. You saved me from losing you." Saxon smiled. "You didn't lose me, Dad. I was right here the whole time." "I know," Elon said softly, "but I wasn't really seeing you. And now I do. Every Sunday. Every day, really. But especially Sundays." They sat together as the stars came out, father and son, in a treehouse built with their own hands, in a life they'd rebuilt together one Sunday at a time. And Saxon thought about that 12-year-old version of himself, sitting in the library on his birthday, afraid to ask for what he needed. He wished he could go back and tell that boy, "Ask. Be brave. Tell the truth. Because the gift that costs nothing might be the one that changes everything. And the answer to the question you're too afraid to ask might be the beginning of something more valuable than anything money could ever buy." Somewhere in the house, a phone was ringing. Neither of them moved to answer it. Because it was Sunday, and Sundays were for being present, for being seen, for being together, for remembering what actually mattered. And that was everything. So where are you watching this from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. We love hearing from you all around the world. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you're helping us spread kindness and remind people what truly matters in life. And don't go anywhere yet. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now for another amazing story that will inspire you. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the most valuable gifts are the ones that money can't buy.